Hello and welcome. In this video, we will learn how to build a quote generator in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So let's get started. So this is the finished project for the demo. So if I just refresh, it will load and it will load a new quote, and we can have this button as well. We have this button, and when we click on that, it will generate a new quote, which is taking a little bit time. Okay, there we go. And if we want to share a particular quote, then we have this share to Twitter button. If I just click on that, it will open the Twitter and it will pre-fill the quote for us. Okay, so this is the project which we will build, and we will learn how to use fetch API in JavaScript as well. So yes, we will have some difficulties while building up this project, but we will overcome all of those difficulties together. Okay, all right, so let's get started. Okay, so to build this project, we have to use a build tool which is called Vite. Okay, we are using Vite for a specific reason, which we will discuss when we will run into some problems and how we will overcome those problems by using Vite. Okay, but to use Vite, what we have to do, we have to have Node.js installed into our machine. So you can go to nodejs.org and you will have this website, and here you can just click on install Node.js, and depending on your operating system, it will show the installation process. For me, I have to use a tool called NVM or Node Version Manager. Okay, but if you are using Linux or Mac OS, the process will be same. But if you are using Windows, what you can do, you can go here, and here you can select Windows, and here you can download the .msi file, and it will be the Node.js in the MSI format. Then what you can do, you can install that by double clicking on that, and then you can just go ahead like, hey, yes, I agree, and so on. And after that, Node.js should be installed into your machine. Okay, I am using Linux, so I have used NVM to install Node.js beforehand, and I will show if the Node.js installation is successful or not. So I have opened my terminal. I will just zoom in a little bit. So, okay, so I have zoomed in a bit, and now what I have to do here, if you are in Mac OS, you have to follow the same process. So basically, you can copy this command, or you can go to this npm sh GitHub page, where you will find, if you go a little bit, yes, you will find the installing and updating command. What you can do, you can just copy this command or this command basically and run it into your terminal. Okay, so terminal. Okay, now I have already run that. So what I can do nvm use lts for the long-term support version. And now what it is saying, like now using Node version 22.16.0, and the npm version is 11.4.2, and it will show the path for the Node.js as well. Okay, so now if I do node dash dash version, so this command node version is returning me a particular number, which is expected. That means Node.js is successfully installed into my machine. In Windows, this command is the same. After installing the MSI package, you can just open up a terminal or a command prompt, and you can just say node version, node dash dash version, and it should return you a version number. We can do something like npm dash dash version as well, and it is returning me the version number for npm, which is good. So that means Node.js is successfully installed. If you are having some problems with installing Node.js, you can just search online or on YouTube like how to install Node.js for your operating system, and you can install Node.js. Okay, all right. So now what we have to do, we have to use the Vite. Okay. And also for Windows, I just want to show you a little bit of a thing, which is the npm for Windows is available as well. You can use this one as well. So like all of the commands which I have run will be the same for you. All right. So now what I have to do, I can go to cd desktop and then I have YouTube. Okay. Folder, and here what I can do, I can run npx create dash vite. So what it will do, it will create a new Vite project. Okay. And hit enter. It might ask you to install something. So you have to press Y for that. So the project name, I will do quote generator. Okay. And here you can select the framework. You can go with the up and down arrow to select the framework. Here I will select vanilla. And now we have two options to use TypeScript or JavaScript. I will use JavaScript. Okay. And hit enter. Now everything is good. Now what I have to do, I have to go to CD to my generated project, which is quote generator. I am using tab to autocomplete the commands. I'm not sure if that will work on Windows or not. Okay. But yeah, so cd quote generator, and it is showing me that like we have to cd to quote generator, then we have to do npm install, and then we have to do npm run dev. So quote generator. Okay. Now here what I will do, I will open my VS Code. So code dot, and it will open in my VS Code. And now what I can do, I can go here, and what I can do something like npm install. So what it will do, it will install the necessary packages to run the Vite project. Okay. It has already installed everything, which is super quick, by the way. All right. Now what we have to do, we have to do npm run dev. Okay. And this project should be running on localhost 5173. So if I just can hold control and click on this, so it will open it in my browser. Okay. So this is our project. Here is a nice little counter and so on, which we will get rid of, and we will start from scratch. All right. So let's go to the code editor once again. And here, okay, what is happening? Just restart the extensions. All right. Okay. Now, inside of this project, you will have a bunch of things. Okay. So first of all, you have this index.html file, which we will use and we will update. Then we have the package.json file. Basically, this file, if you have used Node.js previously, this file is the entry point for all of the dependencies which you have. Basically, you don't have to worry about anything right now. If you do not know Node.js, that is totally fine as well. Okay. Then we have this gitignore file, which is for the version control. And if you want to push this application to GitHub, you can use that. All right. Then inside of this source directory or source folder, we have some of the things. What we will do, we will get rid of everything. So inside of that, we have this. So I will just delete everything. Okay. So we have the empty source directory, and inside of the public, we have this Vite SVG, which we can keep as it is. Okay. Now inside of the source directory, we can create another folder called JS. Inside of the source directory, once again, create another folder CSS. Okay. So CSS and JS. So inside of JS folder, we can create a file which is called main.js. Inside of the CSS folder, we can create a file called style.css. Okay, and now we can go to the index.html file, go here, and what we can do, we can go here for the title. Let's do quote generator. Okay, and we have to link our style. So link and do dot slash src slash css slash style.css. Okay, and inside of this script tag we have to update the path. So what we have to do, we have to do slash src slash js slash main.js. Okay, all right, so here it is. Okay, and what I can do, I can just get rid of this id. We don't have to worry about that for now. So this is basically our initial setup, and for right now I can do a h1 of quote generator. Okay, all right, so hit save. And if you remember, our server is running, the Vite server is running. It had some errors when we deleted some files, but right now it is working, and here we go. So here it is, our quote generator text is showing up. So I will just open this, the DevTools, and shrunk it down. Okay, I will close all of that. So now we can start. Okay, so go ahead inside of the HTML, and here what I'll do, I will get rid of this h1 for now, and for this div I will add a class name, class of quote background. And then inside of that we will have another div of quote card and id of quote card, and hit enter. Emit will do its job. Okay, inside of that what we'll have, we will have a h1 which says quote generator. Okay, and this h1 will have a class. Okay, I will just collapsing everything right now. So class of quote card heading. All right, now just after this h1 we will have another div which is the quote container. So dot quote container. Okay, and inside of that we will have two separate divs. One will be quote text container dot text container. Okay, and after that we will have another which is the button container dot btn container. Basically this button container will contain the buttons for generating a new code and share the code to Twitter. Okay, so let's go inside of this div which is the quote container, like the quote text container, and here what we'll have, we will have some spans with some icons and the text. Okay, but before moving forward we have to include the CDN for the font awesome icons. So what I can do, I can go here and search for font awesome CDN. Okay, so here it is. Most probably you will find it the same way. It is from CDN.js font awesome, and here it is. This is the all like the CSS, and I can copy the link tag for the first one. Okay, and go to the editor once again, and before that I can just paste that particular link. So now font awesome icons will be included via this style sheet to our project. Okay, now we can do the things. So what we have to do, we have to go inside of this div, which is the quote text container. Inside of that we will have a span, and inside of that we will have a icon, basically I tag, and then we will have class of fa solid, and then fa dash quote dash left. Okay, after this span we will have another span which will have an id of quote text and a class of quote text as well. Text. Okay, and inside of that the text for the quote will go. So the text for the quote. Okay, after this span, for some reason my formatting is a little bit messed up. Okay, and then what I can do, I can just go here and just get rid of this, this, and this. Okay, now it is looking good. So after this span we will have the another span which is for the quote ending icon, basically. Okay, so span, and inside of that we will have this I. So I dot fa solid, and then dot fa quote right. Right. Okay, all right. So let's see how that looks. Inside of the browser, I will go here. So as you can see, here is our text. Okay, so the text for quote, and we are seeing the icons as well, which is good. All right, then what we have to do, okay, so this quote text container is here, right? And inside of that, after this span, okay, after this span we will have a paragraph to show the author's name there. So p, it will have a class of quote author, and after that, inside of that it will have an icon I dot fa solid, and then dot fa minus. Okay, this is the icon for this dash. Then we will have the span. Okay, let me just scroll up. Okay, which will have the id of quote author. Okay, so id author, and inside of this span the name of the quote author will go. So I will say the author. Okay, save, and our code will format. By the way, how I am formatting my code, it is by using this extension called prettier. So I can just show it to you. So prettier. Okay, it will take a little bit of the time. So here it is. This is the extension. And then what you have to do, go to the settings. Okay, so the settings, this one, and search for format on save, and you have to check it is unchecked by default, and you have to check that. Then what will happen, whenever you will save your code, it will automatically format. All right, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now we have this. Okay, now we will go inside of this btn container, the button container, and we will have two buttons. So the first button, not this, so button, and the type will be button. Then I will have the id of new quote btn. Okay, then class of new code btn, and then a title for generate a new code. And then inside of that we will have an icon. So inside of this button we will have an icon. So I dot and then fa solid, and then fa circle play. So fa circle play. Okay, and then after that we will have the text generate code. Okay, so here is our first button. And for those of you are wondering about this title, what it will do, I will show it to you. When I will just zoom in. Now when I will hover to this button, it will have a little pop-up of generate a new quote. Okay, so this is what the title attribute does in HTML. All right, so after this button we will have another button for the share to Twitter. Okay, so button, and then inside of that we will have the type of button. Then we will have the ID of Twitter btn. Okay, then we will have the class of Twitter btn. Then we will have another title of share on Twitter. And inside of this button we will have another icon. So I and class of fa brands, fa dash square dash x dash Twitter. Okay, and then I will just say share to Twitter. Okay, all right, so it looks good. Now if I go to the browser, so we have this generate code button, and then we have this share to Twitter button as well. Awesome. Now just before this ending div tag, we will have some other divs as well. So just go ahead. So we will have only one ending div tag, and here we will have two different divs. One is for to show the loader, and another is for to show some errors if some error happens. Okay, so do something like div and do id of loader. Okay, and class of loader as well. All right, and then we will have another one, so dot error and hash error. So it will add the class and the id at the same time. Okay, so I like to add the id first, so control x and control v. All right, so here is our HTML. So if I go to the browser, here is our HTML, basic HTML, and our HTML is completed. Now let's go to the fun part and add some styling by using CSS. Okay, so now let's go to style.css, which we have linked as well inside of here in the head. Okay, so here what I will do, first of all, I will do star, then set margin to 0, padding to 0, and box sizing to border box. Okay, I am using the alternate box model here. All right, so I will go to the browser, and now here is our HTML looking. Now what I want to do, I want to use a custom font. So we will go to Google Fonts. Okay, inside of Google Fonts, what you will have, I will use the font called Poppins. So I'll just scroll down a little bit. So here it is this font which is called Poppins. I will zoom in a little bit. So it is saying in Hindi currently right now, but yeah, like hi there. So here it is. This is the font. So what I'll do get font. Okay. And now I will click on this get embed code. And here I will have all of the styles which this font offers. Okay. So I will click on this import and I will copy this import code to my CSS file. So paste it down here. Okay. Now what I'll do, I will go here and do body of the font family. I will use the Poppins font. So to do that, here it is. This is the code to do that. So I will go here and here it is, Poppins sans serif. Now if I go to my browser, now we are using the Poppins font, and if you are not sure about that, you can go to the computer tab, and inside of that, here it is, font family is Poppins and it is a network resource. Basically it is downloading the font. All right, and if for some reason it is not able to download this Poppins font, then it will use the default sans serif font. All right, so here it is right now. Now let's go to the code. Okay, and now let's style. So we have the quote background, right? So quote background, okay, plus, so yep, so if you go here, so it is the outermost div. Okay, so quote background, so I will do height of 100 vh, width of 100 vh, display flex, align items to center, and justify content to center. Okay, now everything should be centered. Okay, so yep, here it is. And if I go here, so width should be VW, not VH. So VW, so everything should be right now centered. Okay, everything is now centered. So now what I want to do, I want to use a background pattern. To do so, what I will do, I will use the hero patterns. Okay, so heropatterns.com. You can go to heropatterns.com and then you can choose from different patterns. So what I'll do, I'll go here, and for the other, like the initial project, I have chosen this particular pattern, but right now I want to use this pattern. Okay, so let's click on that. For the foreground, what I can do, I can do something like this. Yeah, something like this. Okay, and for the background, I'll do white. Okay, and opacity, we can change it up here. So we can just have something like this or a little bit darker as well, but I want something like this. Okay, and now we have this CSS. We can copy that and we can go to our code editor, and after this we can paste it out here. And it is a very long sort of a CSS, but yeah. Now if I go to my browser, and now we have the pattern going on, which is awesome, right? So it is the pattern which we will use. All right. So now what I'll do, I'll go here and let's start with the CSS for the card. So let's do quote card, background color of white. Let's do that. Padding of 2 rem, top and bottom, not 1 rem, 2 rem, top and bottom, and left and right 2.5 rem. Okay. Width I'll set to auto, and now max width of 800 pixel. Okay. Border radius, so that everything is nice and rounded, of 10 pixel. So now we can add some box shadow as well. So box shadow of 4 pixel, 4 pixel, 8 pixel, and then RGBA, and here I'll say 0, 0, 0 and 0.3. So basically what we are saying for this box shadow is that x-axis offset of 4 pixel, y-axis offset of 4 pixel, 8 pixels of blur radius, and then we are setting up the color. Okay, and while we are at it, so let's do quote card heading. It was the H1, and let's do a color of hash 3A, 3A, 3A. All right, so let's go here. Now here it is. Here is our card, okay, which is having some box shadow as well, and our H1 is now having this particular color. All right, so we will go back here. Now we have the quote text container. Okay, and we can set the font size of 2.5 rem and margin of 1.5 rem and auto. Basically, whenever we are having this, okay, so now the text is centered. Now if I just go here, okay, so there will be some margin. All right. All right, so now let's style the quote text. Okay, so here we have this span of class quote text. Okay, so let's do dot quote text. All right, and then we will add the font size, basically font size of 2.5 rem. And what we'll have, we will have another class of quote text long. So this class, it is not existent in the HTML, but we will dynamically add it if the quote text is very, very long. Okay, so inside of this quote text long, so font size of 2 rem. All right, now for the quote author, what we have the font size of 1.5 rem. All right, let's see how that looks. Okay, looking pretty good, right? Looking pretty good. Okay, if I just zoom out, I am zoomed in quite a lot. So it is the 100% size. Okay, so it is quite a lot of zoom, but it is looking quite good. All right, so let's go here. Now we have to just style our buttons, right? And we will add the loader and the error as well. All right, so let's go ahead and let's style the button. So dot btn dash container. All right. So btn container margin top of 1.5 rem. Okay. Then display of flex. Then flex direction of column. Then align items of center, width of 100% and gap of 0.8 rem. And what I'll do, I'll just cut the gap and I'll just paste it out here on the top. Okay, so now if I go here right now, here it is, here is the layout. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to select these buttons individually, the Twitter button and the new quote button. So new quote btn, Control C, I'll just copy paste and then comma dot Twitter btn. Okay, and here we will add the width of 100%, padding, not pad, padding of 1.2 rem and 1 rem, 1.2 rem, 1 rem. Okay, border of none, then border radius of 8 pixels. Okay, cursor to pointer. All right, then we have the font size of 1.2 rem. Then we have the display of flex. Then we have align items to center, and then we have justify content to center as well, gap of 8 pixels. Okay, and then we have the color to hash fff, and then we have the box shadow, a little bit of the box shadow of 2 pixel x offset, 2 pixel y offset, 4 pixel of blur radius and RGBA, and I'll do 0, 0, 0 and 0.15. Okay, and then we have to have some transition because we will have some hover effect. So transition all 0.3 seconds, or let's do 0.15 seconds is in. All right, now there is our buttons, and if I just save and go ahead, so here is our buttons. Okay, so now we have to add the colors individually. So for this generate code button, it will be a blue color. For this share to Twitter button, it will be a black sort of a color, not the black color but a blackish color, a dark color. Okay, so now let's do dot new code btn. So let's do background color of hash of 0d 0d 6e 6e and fd. All right, and then for Twitter btn, we will have the background color of this one, hash 3a 3a 3a. All right, and then what we'll do, we will have some like hover effects. So let's do new code btn colon hover. Okay, and then comma, then we will do the dot Twitter btn colon hover. Okay, and what I'll do filter brightness of 115%. Okay, so now if I go to the browser, now we have this button which is blue and which is, I'm not sure the hover effect is recorded inside of this recording, but yeah, there is a little bit of the lighter color if I hover. Okay, which is nice. All right, Now let's go to here. Now we will add some utility classes for if, for example, if there is some error, we don't want to like show this card, we want to show another card for this error. So we will create an utility class for displaying, like to vanish the card. Okay, so dot display none. What I'll do display of none. Okay, and for the error, so right now there is no error, but if I just do something like this is an error, I will get rid of that. So this error will be now showing here. Okay, but what I'll do, I will just style it up and then we will just get rid of that error. Okay, so yeah, so let's do dot error, and then we will do color of hash ff1951, font size of 1.5 rem, and background of hash fff, like the white background, then padding of 1 rem and 1.5 rem. Okay, and then border radius of 10 pixels, and then we will have the box shadow of 2 pixel 2 pixel 4 pixel RGBA, and then 0.15. Okay, and hit save and go to the browser right now. So yep, there is our error. So right now it is showing up like this. Okay, and this looks good. This is the red color which we want. So we will be showing either of this card or this error card, okay, by using JavaScript. All right, and for the loader, okay, for the loader, what I'll do, I'll just go ahead to loader, and before I forget, okay, so just get rid of this. Okay, all right, for the loader, what I'll do border of 16 pixel solid, and then hash 3a this color, border top of 16 pixel solid, and then do hash this blue color, hash 0d6eft this color, border radius of 50%. Then we will have the width of 120 pixels and height of 120 pixels. And then animation, so we will add a keyframe as well. So animation, which will be spin 2 seconds, linear, and then infinite. Okay, now let's add the keyframe. So let's do add, and then keyframes, spin. Basically, if you are not familiar, whenever we are adding this animation, so this name and this keyframe name has to be same. Okay, so we are defining how to animate. So for 0%, what we will do transform of rotate of 0 degree, and when it is 100%, okay, what we will do transform of rotate of 360 degree. Okay, and now I will add a little bit of the responsive CSS for the media. So let's do the media query. So media screen, and max width of 1000 pixel. If that is the case, then quote card, I will add a little bit of the margin. So margin of auto for top and bottom and 1.5 rem for left and right. So right now, if I go here, so here is our loader, which is not spinning right now. Okay. Here is our loader as well. If I just do that. Okay, so let me just refresh this page. All right, so it is expected here. And now it is spinning. But why the color is not there? Okay, so there is this color is not showing up properly. Okay, I will debug that and I will let you know what is the reason for that. Okay, so our spinner was missing this border because it was just 16, so we have to add 16 pixel and then it will. Okay, so here is our spinner. So don't worry about these elements because it will be gone when we will add JavaScript. So now what I'll do, I can show it to you. Okay, this is getting there, but the responsive design is working. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just go to the code and just comment out the spinner and the loader error and the loader for now. So now everything is good right now, and whenever we are under 1000 pixel screen, there will be some margin on the left and the right side. Okay, so this is basically the CSS which we have to write. Now let's write the JavaScript. All right, so now let's add some JavaScript and make our application dynamic so that we can fetch real quotes with the author and we can show that to the card and to the user basically. Okay, so let's get started. So now you might be wondering like, hey, how we are gonna get some quotes, right? So to get quotes, what we will use an API called ZenQuotes. Okay, so here is the API, ZenQuotes API, and it is a completely free API and completely free to use. No API key required for the normal usage, and if you want to use extensively, then you have to have the API key. That is all. Okay, so now what I can do, I can click on this check out the full documentation, and here is that, and we have this. Okay, and there we go basically. So there are a bunch of things. Okay, so one of the things which we have currently right now is this one. So I can copy like how to fetch codes for your website or web app. So if I just do something like this and then I will open another application, you don't have to follow this, but I just want to show that Insomnia, it is a REST client so that we can talk to the API. So we have this here, and now I'll just rename that to like get quotes. Okay, and if I just send the request, and we should get some response, right? Okay, there are some errors. Okay, so let's just send it like that. All right, so there we go. So there are these codes which we have. I believe it is fetching the 50 codes. And if I can, so let me just, okay, I can zoom in. Okay, so now you can see. So there are these codes. Now what I'll do, I'll create another one. Create another HTTP request and paste out this and API slash, and now if I go here, if I just search for random, so I want some random code, right, for this application, we want some random quote. So if I just go here, yep, there we go. So here it is. So this is the Zen quotes api.io/api/random. So if I go to where we go, it is the insomnia, and it is not quotes. Let's do random, and hit send. Okay, so we will get a random quote. Awesome. So what we can do, we can just have this Q, which is the quote. Then we have this A, which is the author. So we can just have this quote and author showed into our like the application, and we will be all set. But there are some of the issues which we will run into. So first of all, let's go to the code editor here, and here inside of this JS, what I'll do, I will add a function like, and I'll add a comment first of all, like fetch a random quote. So I will create an async function, fetch quote, and inside of that, what we can do, a fetch request. So const response equals to await. Then we can do fetch, and then what we can do, we can pass the URL here. So for us, it will be random. Okay. And then after that, what we can do, const data, we will get the data when we will do await response.json. If you have fetch API used, then it is quite familiar, right? And let's do console.log of data, and let's see what happens. And now if I go to the browser and go here, first of all, one thing, there will be nothing in console, I believe. Yes, there is nothing because we didn't call our function. So let's do like load a quote while the first visit. Okay, so now we can do fetch quote. Okay, and call the function. Now if I go to the browser, okay, so now what is happening, we are getting some errors, and this is expected error. And what it is saying, like access to fetch at this Zencodes API from localhost has been blocked by the codes policy. No access control allow origin header is present on the request resource. So what it is saying? It is saying to us like, hey, you want to access the Zencodes API, which is fine, but because the Zencodes API and your local host are two different entities, the connection between them is blocked by the codes policy. So this is one of the reasons why we use Vite instead of like just the HTML and CSS files. Because inside of Vite, we can configure this thing. We can add a proxy so that what will happen is that our request will be successful. So how we can do that? Let's check it out. First of all, let's go to the code editor, and here on the root, on this level, I'll just click on here and new file. So it should be named at vite.config.js. The name should be the same, vite.config.js. And if you are wondering how I'm gonna be fixing that issue, so what I can do vite add codes, something like that. And we have this server options here. And if you go a little bit of there, and here it is. So we will set this proxy, and we will set it to, for our case, we will set it to the Zen codes. Okay. So let's go here And what we have to do basically, this syntax is a little bit complicated, not complicated for the beginners, it is a little bit complicated, so just type it out. So import, and then in the curly braces, from wheat. Okay, and inside of this curly braces we have to import define config. Okay, it is all in the documentation, wheat documentation. So now export default define config, and this config will get some options. So server is one of them, and inside of that what we have to do, we have to add the proxy what we have seen. Okay, and this will be another object. And if I go to the documentation once again, yeah, so we have this define config, right? Then we have the server and inside of this proxy, and then we have to have this. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just copy this particular thing /API from this /API. Okay, so let's copy that and go to the code and paste that. Okay, all right. Now there are multiple config like the formatters, so let's format that. Okay, so what it is saying here, I will just collapse that. So this is /API. So what we are saying here is that whenever we are hitting /API, just read out that /API to this particular URL. So for us, it will be this particular URL. Okay, but what I'll do, I'll just cut that or copy that and paste it out here. Okay, so for us, it will be /API, and then we have this object. Inside of that, we will have the target, which sets to https:// to zencodes.io/API. Please make sure there is no slash after the API. There should be empty, nothing should be there. Okay, that might be sometimes that might cause some issues. Okay, then we are saying like, hey, you know what, you can change the origin to this origin so that we can access the values, right? We can access the API. And then what we are doing here, we are rewriting the path to just empty string. So yeah, that is basically what we are doing. So this particular setup is to avoid the code's error. All right. So now what we have to do, basically, we have to go to the terminal, and it is reloading, but what I'll do, I'll just get rid of that by using Control-C and then do npm run dev. Okay, once again, it will be running. Now, if I just go to the code editor, so what we have to do here, we have to change that. So remember what we had here, we have this /API. So we have to now access this /API. Okay, instead of that whole URL, this Zencodes URL. So whenever we are like requesting from this /API route inside of our code, it will redirect that to this Zencodes API URL. So /API. So here it has to be /API. So I will just add a comment here. The /API means basically this particular thing. Okay, so here this /API means https zencodes.io/API. Okay, you can think of like that. So now if I save and go to the browser and go into our code generator, and now let's see, yes, this is working, right? And we are getting the response, which is awesome. All right, so this is one of the hurdles which you will face whenever you are working with some external APIs. Okay, So in that case, you have to set up this proxies so that our application, like the front end application, can talk to the back end application. Okay. Now what I will do, I will just get rid of this console log, and here I will add a try catch block, try catch. Okay. And I will move these particular things X to this try block. So in case if you are not familiar with the try catch, so what it is doing, it will be just trying to access this. If in case something fails, then what it will do, it will go to the catch with this error, and where we can do something like console dot error, and we can do something while fetching the code. The code. And then comma error, because we will have this error, right? Here it is. This is the error. Okay. Now we have this. Now, okay, once again, we have to console log the data and save and go here. So here it is. Now, as you can see, it is an array. Inside of that, the first element contains the random code, which we want. So what we have to do, we have to go here and do data 0 so that we can access the object. Okay. And yep, I think, yep, there we go. So here is the object. So we can destructure this code, which is this Q, and the A, which is the author, from this particular response. Okay. So here what we can do something like, I am just keeping that right now, but I will remove the console log. Okay. So now what we can do const, and then we can destructure from what data @0. That means the first element from the data array. Okay. And we have the Q and we have the A. Q for code and A for author. All right. So here it is. Now, okay. So now what we have to do, we can just console log the Q and console log the A as well. Okay. And I'll just get rid of this. All right. So yeah, as you can see, we are getting all of the responses as expected. Now what we have to do, we have to get the quote text, right? And we have to add the quote text there. Okay. So now let's go here, and here in the top, we can do like selectors. So const quote text equals to document dot query selector, and then we can do the select the ID of quote text. Okay. And while we are at it, let's add all of the selectors here. Okay. So const, we will have the quote author, which will be document dot query selector, which will be hash quote author. Okay. Then we have the quote card, because we have to conditionally like show the loader or the error message and so on. So let's do const quote card equals to document dot query selector, and then what we have the hash quote card. Then const new code button, it will be document dot query selector, and then we will have the new code btn Okay, then the Twitter btn const Twitter btn equals to document dot query selector, and we'll do hash Twitter btn. Okay, and we will have the loader and the error text as well. So const loader equal to document, not document type, document dot query selector of hash loader, and then const error text equals to document dot query selector of hash error. And have I uncommented those? No, I didn't. So I will just uncomment those. Okay, for now. All right. So here it is. All of the selectors which we want. Okay, now what we have to do basically, we will just now what we'll do, we will just set the text content of the quote. Okay, so set the quote and author. So quote text dot text content, it will be q. Okay, it's save, and let's go here. Just don't worry about this loaded and so on, we will fix that. So now as you can see, we have this text right now. Okay, and this is the thing, and if I refresh, so the text for the quote, and then we are seeing that. So what we have to do basically, remember here we have this dummy text for the quote author, the author. So I will get rid of that, and also the text for the quote, I will get rid of that as well, so that we will have the empty slate to work with. Okay, once again we have this. All right, so now as you can see, it is a perfect opportunity to see that, because this like text is quite long and our card is so much big right now, right? So what we can do, we can just decrease the font size by using this particular, where does that go? So let me just go here. So this particular class. Okay, so let's do that here. So before doing that, so if the q, which is the quote text dot length, is greater than, for example, 100, okay, then quote text dot class list dot add, not class list, once again add, and what we will add, we will add this particular class, which is the quote text long, which is here. Okay, else what we will do, we will just remove that class list. So basically the quote is small, so we can have some a little bit bigger text, right? A little bit big font size. So remove here, so quote text dot class list dot remove. Okay, so in that case what will happen, the text will dynamically change its size depending on the length of the quote. Okay, all right, now let's set the author. So here is our author, where it is the quote author, which is this one. There is a span, right? So let's set the author. Okay, so quote author dot text content to a. Okay, now hit save and it will load, and now our author is set up properly as well. But there is another problem here. Basically, many of the times what happens, some of the codes do not have any author, and we will have something like null inside of this author. So if there is no author, then we want to set the text content to unknown for the author, right? So what we can do, we can do if here, and then we can do if not a, if there is no author. Okay, then what we have to do, we have to do a similar thing, but we have to add this unknown text. Okay, else, okay, this is not that what I wanted. Else, if that is the case, then what we have to do, we have to just cut that and paste that here. Okay, so if there is no author, if that is null, then just add this unknown text. If there is an author, then set it to the author. So now, as you can see, okay, this is one of them which is unknown. Okay, so if I just refresh once again, okay, there it is. There is another one of the quotes, which is awesome. All right, now here it is, right? Okay, before moving forward, let's handle the error. Okay, so whenever we are having some error, we don't want to see the code card at all, and we want to see the error text there. Okay, in that place. So we can do like if error, hide the code card and show error. Okay, so now code card dot class list dot add, basically we are hiding that, right? We are hiding this code card. And if you remember, if I go here inside of the CSS, we have this display none CSS, right? This class for like hiding the elements. So what we can do, we can do something like add display dash none, so it will hide. Okay, and then we have to have the error text dot text content of the same thing, like something went wrong while fetching the code. And inside of the like the console, we will have that. Okay, just wrapping up here, and yep, all right. So now we have this. Okay, now only when we will have the error, we will have this. Okay, and then what we will do, we will have, let's try it out, so how that looks. So I'll just get rid of that and do something like this, hit save and go to the browser. This loading is there, we will tackle the loading after that, but yes, here it is, this is the error. Okay, all right, so our card is not showing and our error is showing instead. Okay, now let's handle the loading and the like the completed loading state, right? So on the top, what we can do, we can add a function like the loading function. Okay, or loading state. So function loading, here what we'll do, we will do the error. If the thing is loading, our request is going on, so error text dot hidden to true. Okay, error should be hidden. Okay, then loader dot hidden to false. Okay, and then we will do quote card dot hidden to true. Okay, there we go. So we are hiding the quote card, we are not hiding the loader, we are showing the loader, and we are hiding the error text. Okay, now let's go ahead and then do function complete loading. Okay, in that case, so complete state. Okay, state. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to do the error text dot hidden to true once again. Why? Because we will add that inside of the catch as well. Okay, and then we have the loader dot hidden. So we want to hide the loader, so true. And then we have the quote card dot hidden to false. So we want to show our code, right? Now, if that is the case right now, then what we will do here, we will have this. So here, what we will do, we will add this function here. Now loading. And after this try catch, we will have the complete loading. Okay. And hit save. And also what I can do, I can just set up this. Okay, let's see what happens while we have that. Okay, so now we have to have this one. So there is nothing showing up right now. So now, okay, so I have misplaced this one. So when we have completed the fetching, then we will have this. Okay, complete loading. And if there is the error, then it will be showing to that. Okay, so we have to add the complete loading here as well. Complete loading here as well. But here we have to add the error text dot hidden to false. Okay. Now if I do that, now we have our error. But if everything goes successful, so /API/random, okay, now it will load, and there you go, our code is now loading. Awesome. So here it is. Now what is remaining is that these buttons. Okay, so let's work on that, which is quite simple. Okay, for these buttons, what I will do, I will add event listeners. So for the new code button, new code btn dot add event listener of click event. Okay, and here we can add the fetch code function. Okay, the fetch code function here. All right, now for the Twitter button, we have to create another function. So tweet code with the code. Okay, so function, now function with code. Okay, and here what we can do, we can add a const Twitter URL. By the way, by like the sharing of inside of the Twitter, there is a documentation by official Twitter basically, from which I have gotten this URL, which I will show it to you. Okay, and then we can just, whenever we are clicking into that, we will have our code pre-populated. So that Twitter URL has to be of backticks https://twitter.com/intent/tweet, and then we have to add question mark, and then we have to add the text, and then equals to, and then we will have our text. So what it will be, so it will be the quote text dot text content, and then we will have a dash, and then we will have the another thing, which is the quote author dot text content. Okay, so this is basically that. So we are passing, like we have this URL and we are passing the quote text dot text content, basically the text for the quote, and then we are passing the quote author name as well. Okay, now after that, what we have to do, we have to do something like this. We have to open it up. So window dot open, and then we can use the Twitter URL, and then what we have to do, we have to open it in a new tab. If you want, then we have to add underscore blank so that it will open into a new tab. Now, after this, what we can do Twitter btn dot add event listener. Okay, and then we have to have the click event. Okay, and then we can add this function tweet tweet quote. Okay, and hit save. All right, so let's see how that goes. So inside of the browser, there is no console errors, which is awesome. Now I can do something like generate a new quote, and it is generating a new quote. By the way, one thing which I am seeing here, this paragraph quote author is not having some sort of margin. Okay, so it is not looking that much good. So what I have to do, I have to go to the CSS. So let's do the quote author, where it is quote author. Okay, and let's do margin top and bottom of 1.5 rem. Okay, yeah, now it is looking a little bit good. Okay, and I want, okay, let's do margin top of 1 rem and margin bottom of 1.5 rem. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, this is looking good. And now what I want is that so what is happening here, where is our container? This is the container, quote text container. And yeah, okay, 1.5 rem auto. And then what I can do display of flex align items to end and see how that goes. Okay, that is not good because we have to do flex direction to column. And yeah, okay, never mind, it is not looking that much good. Okay, so just get rid of that. But yeah, so this is basically the code generator program. And now we can generate another code here. Okay, so yeah, we can share it to Twitter as well. Okay, and now our like code is now inside of this Twitter and it is pre-populating. Awesome. So yeah, there we go then. So this is the completed project. This is the quote generator which we have built by using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. I hope you have learned a ton from this project. If so, please leave a like, leave a comment, and please subscribe to this channel. It will help me a lot. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. Take care.